Welcome to Talk South Asian to Me Season 3. My name is Michelle.
And my name is Anusha. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central and hear us react to each other's stories about mental health and growing up in different South Asian households.
And remember, this podcast is not therapy. Engage with what feels entertaining and resonates with you, and leave what doesn't. Episode 4. Woohoo! We're
Episode
getting
4.
into our Season 3. I was about to say Season 4, but it's Season 3, Episode 4.
Episode 4, Season 4.
So, as you all know, we have been trying something new in our Season 3, which is introducing some segments. So you have heard Slay or Nay and maybe some Q&A. So now we have another Q&A today. So are you ready for my question?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay. In regards to self-care, people do different things to fill their cup. What things fill your cup and wow?
And wow, that matches
Why?
too. Okay, I like that question.
Yeah. Do you want to first answer?
Mine is super easy. Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I have no idea what I enjoy. Just kidding. I know exactly what I enjoy. To fill my cup, I currently read a lot of books or watch like my Korean or Chinese dramas, or I will, I don't know, anything to do with like art, right? Like so painting or crafts or even digital art. Those kinds of things fill my cup up.
Digital art, yes, you're good at that.
Basically, all of those things are individual time, though. Notice nobody's involved in my recharge
like
time.
Your me time.
Yeah.
Time. And then the second part of the question, why?
Why? Why do they feel recharging? I suppose because even though I love socializing and I love a lot of like spending time with people, I definitely feel that it's a bit draining, particularly if I do it too much. I like to tell people, I get really quiet and people are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm in low power mode. I find a lot of energy in like quiet and calm so that I can, spend time with other people and have fun. But I do not find it very energizing to do things with others. Quiet, non-reflective time to just get lost in something, that feels good to me.
Nice. That's a good analogy too. Like recharge, low power mode. I like that.
Yeah. Wait, I have no idea what yours is. Like I couldn't even guess. I'm actually really curious about your answer.
Yeah, it's really funny because me neither. LOL. That's my trauma response. I'm just kidding. I am working on it. But this is a stumbling question for me, and I don't know if others could relate. It's because I feel that I am always busy filling other people's cups, and I'm not focusing on my own cup. But, recently I've been thinking about this, and so things that recently have been helping me. Well, first, you probably heard this term, like couch rotting. Just like
couch frogging?
Rotting, like couch
rotting.
Yeah, literally, like just couch rotting, like just sitting on the couch or laying down on the couch and just, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I just need that.
Yeah. Not to put you on the spot here, but I wonder, is that like the distinction, right? Is that like because you get so tired from filling other people's cup, that's all you can do?
Yes, I've been thinking about that.
Or is it recharging?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I think. Because I do feel better after doing that. And I feel like I don't talk to anyone, nobody on the phone, nothing, just like sitting there. I have tried meditation. I like doing that a lot. So that really fills my cup. I feel very re-energized after doing that. And then exercising, that's my escape. Whenever I don't exercise regularly, I definitely feel the difference. And I feel more drained, more lethargic. And I've been trying to incorporate like variety of exercises. So like not exercises that are intense like I used to like hit that would still keep my cortisol levels high. I've been trying to do like Pilates and like deep breathing and yoga to kind of bring my nervous system down, and that's been helping as well.
Do you have like a favorite exercise that's recharging?
I like yoga a lot.
Yoga, yeah. Like that's what you go back to a lot when you need to recharge.
Yeah. And I've been like now trying a mixture of Pilates and yoga for my low impact workouts, and I've been liking it. Just like
that's awesome.
Maybe it's my age too speaking, but I love the stretches because my body just really needs it.
You're so cute. It's my age, y'all.
Yeah. And I think the reason why these things fill my cup. One, I agree with you. The couch just could be like the free state of just me, like wanting my
Mm.
body just freezing. But also, it's like a reset in a way too, because afterwards I do feel like I'm ready to tackle the world again, or like, I'm ready to move on to the next thing. But with exercise, and I am sometimes an extroverted person when it comes to spending time with others. That fills my cup too, but only
Mm.
to a certain extent. I've learned that. Before it used to be a lot, but now
Yeah.
I have like a limit. But
Yeah.
that fills my cup too, like just like spending time with my friends and family.
Mm.
And it's not just like anybody. It has to be like quality time of people that I really
Mm.
love and care about. So like significant people. That's where I can be myself, not be on, not worry about what the other person will think.
Mm.
So those types of things fill my cup because again, around those types of people, I don't feel like I have to put up a front, be fake, or watch out for something. I can just be myself.
Right.
And then the exercise and meditation and just like the couch rotting is just that me time that I sometimes need.
Yeah.
Um, so those things
That
fill
makes
my help
sense.
my fill my cup.
I love that. Well, I
Yeah,
look forward to you experiencing, other things to add to your
I
self-care list.
know, I know, I know. It
You'll
makes me
have to let
happy.
us know on the pod.
Yes, for sure. Well, if you have questions for us, that you would like to ask, we would love to hear from you. So you can
Mhm.
directly DM us. You can email us at talksouthasiantome@gmail.com. And there's no right or wrong questions. It could be any question. There's no such thing as stupid questions either. Any question is valid. And we
Any
would love to
questions,
hear
any
from you.
topic,
Yes.
somewhat tangent to, mental health
Yes.
though.
Yes. All right. Are you ready for our topic
Mhm.
reveal for letter
Topic
D?
review. My
Yes.
favorite time of the pod, topic review.
Woo! Time to reveal our topic. I mean, by this time, I always wonder when they're looking at the title, they already know. But it's okay.
Oh, that's so true.
I
That's your
didn't think
Sunday
about
one.
that. But it's still a reveal for us. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're revealing it on our
Yes.
podcast right
Yes.
now.
Yes. It's live. Okay. The topic is the burden of the elder daughter.
Oh, that
Ooh,
sounds so good. That
dramatic.
title.
The
I love
burden
that title.
of the elder daughter.
We're really having fun with our titles now.
We are. We have put a lot of thought into it, so we would love to hear your feedback about that too. Okay, so tried to condense my research because I do have some more segments coming our way. So quickly to define it, I'm sure you've heard this term eldest daughter syndrome, right? Which is not limited to just females. It can be just the eldest child syndrome in the family. And it's a colloquial term that's used to describe the complex experience of being the eldest child in the family, or when
Mhm.
it's eldest daughter, eldest female identifying child in the family. So kind of just some general background. Psychology research shows that in households, a person's birth order and traditional gender roles have an influence on their development, which is pretty
Mm.
fascinating, right? This can affect the person's behavior patterns and personality as well. So when it comes to the eldest daughters, it's very common that they are given responsibilities for caregiving, feeling a lot of pressure, right? Not only they are the child in the household, but they might have a nurturing role of taking care of younger siblings, household responsibilities, taking on emotional labor, emotional burden of other people, maybe the parent, like therapizing the child. So not only the eldest daughter can be parentified, which means like taking care of the younger siblings and nurturing them and taking on that role, but also like being therapized, which is kind of taking on the emotional labor of like parents sharing their burden with the daughter, emotional burden. It's also really common that they face high expectations when it comes to achievements, behaviors, and responsibilities. In one 15-year longitudinal study conducted by research at the University of California, Los Angeles, researchers found that firstborn daughters mature faster and are more likely to experience adrenal puberty, which I thought was very fascinating that it's a physical manifestation. Adrenal puberty involves changes such as the growth of body hair and certain aspects of cognitive maturation without other aspects of puberty, like breast development and menstruation, which is really, I did not know that. Did you know that from beforehand?
I did not know that.
There's a
That's
physical link.
Oh, there
Insane.
always is. Yeah.
While I was reading this, I didn't get a chance to look into it more, but I almost wonder if there's a link with PCOS because those types of symptoms are also related, like adrenal and puberty.
You just
I'm
like
curious.
boom, like
I
wow.
know, mind
Oh my
blowing,
God.
right? Yeah.
No, because PCOS is super freaking common, particularly in like South Asian populations, but in general in
Yes.
like women, it's like a rising thing. And like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yes, girl.
Now I'm so curious. I'm gonna need
I
to
know,
go look
me
this
too.
up.
We need to Google this after, but I was literally just thinking that when I was writing out this research, I was like, I really wonder, like, if
I
there's a link
wonder,
for that,
yeah. I
or
mean, I
someone
know,
is doing a study that's like thinking about the link, you know?
yeah, I mean, if not, like that would be interesting to know. But I
Mm-hmm.
know there is also like a genetic component, of course, and like
Yeah, there's lots of
cultural
factors.
component, but this could be a component too. Like, wow.
Okay, so now let's talk about impact. How does this impact later in life, characteristics? So, parentification specifically is associated with increased anxiety, depression, eating disorders, personality disorders, and the behavior of overworking. I'm like, ding, ding, ding. That's
Check,
very
check,
common.
check.
Like, yeah. Another kind of characteristics that are associated with eldest daughter syndrome or eldest child syndrome is perfectionism, identity challenges, relationship challenges, such as difficulty asserting their own boundaries and drawn to people who rely on them for support and care. Self-esteem
Mhm.
challenges. So because, eldest daughters, eldest children, they always feel like they need to be strong and self-reliant because that's kind of like the role they've taken, that they need to be the strong one in the family. They need to be independent. They may struggle to ask for help when they need it, which I thought that
Mhm.
was very resonating. And this can actually cause feelings of isolation and loneliness and make it hard for people to get the support they need. This all information is from the very well mined article, and the authors also talk about breaking the cycle, right? How can someone break the cycle of these, of being parentified and maybe these long-term effects that they might be experiencing.
Now this is a
So
part where our audience is like, yes, give me the
yes, how do
information.
we do that? How do we come out of this? How do we undo this years and years of drilled work? Well, it's not a shortcut, but some things that you can do is that you learn assertiveness skills and develop strong boundaries. And
Mhm.
again, this is a skill, it can be learned. Differentiating between independence and excessive self reliance. So, in other words, understanding, like, yes, you're independent, you're autonomous, but it's okay to ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to be excessively self reliant, right?
Yeah, hyper independence.
Hyper independence. There we go. Practicing self compassion and self care. It's so funny that my question was this because I just thought that this is related. It's so funny. It was like a foreshadowing. I
Yeah, love
didn't
that.
even think about that. And then also considering utilizing therapy as a tool. Yep.
Okay, that was
Therapy,
good.
heart, heart.
Yes.
Okay. So before I go into the South Asian application, we want to take a quick break for another segment. We are going to also maybe start reading some Reddit stories. So this is like a quick short story from Reddit that is someone that posted their experience about being the eldest daughter in their family. And it was not specified South Asian. This is kind of general. Okay, quote, eldest daughter here of three. My husband doesn't understand why I can't just take it easy or chill unless I'm in my burnout phase and just mindless scrolling. I derive my worth and value from what I do for others. This means I ended up, quote, loving cooking and would easily make time to craft something for someone else, but not something just for me. I am consistently seeing the next chore and can't cope with ignoring it. I also saw with great clarity my younger siblings took longer to notice the falling apart of my parents' marriage. So, definitely emotional issues because of that. I took all this into my professional life, even when I moved away, as always being the one that could be relied on. Working extra, sacrifices after personal sacrifices, working really hard to break that mindset because now, as a mother, I'm utterly exhausted and over it.
Well,
Any
check, check,
thoughts?
check. As I was
I
listening,
know. Yeah. Any thoughts?
I mean, that is she could be the poster child for the burdens of eldest daughters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Wow.
really like how this example kind of shows the implications when you're older. Like, how does this affect you? Like, this is a mother, and the effects of being the eldest daughter are still in effect,
Yeah.
but it's great awareness, whoever you are. Thank you for sharing your
Yeah.
story. And it's good that you're being aware of what's going on.
I think it's really like the part that I keep getting stuck on, honestly, because everything else I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Check, check, check. But the part that I get stuck on is how isolating it's got to feel, right? When nobody really understands that lived experience that you're having,
Mm-hmm.
particularly like a partner, right? Because especially like your partner sees how much of a burden it is for you as an adult and how that plays
Mm-hmm.
into your married life, how that plays into your connection with your family still, how that plays
Mm-hmm.
into how you raise your kids. Like,
Right.
it's just all encompassing. It like shows up in so many different ways, and it's got to be so lonely too to feel
Yeah.
like nobody really gets that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a lot to say about that. It's
Mhm.
upcoming.
Yeah,
But
I
you're
can't wait.
right. Like, this is a big deal, and it's very, very common. Like, this
This
challenge, right?
experience.
Yeah. And we'll go into the South Asian. We're about to go into that, but just to know that this, generally speaking, is still very common. Like, these struggles, these challenges that people who are the eldest children in the family face, right?
Yeah,
Parentification is very common across all cultures, right? It may look different, it may impact differently, but it's still like there. It doesn't make it it's okay.
right.
Like, it kind
Yeah,
of takes away the opportunity of that elder child to be a child.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly. I mean, even like when she says in the part, like, I noticed the deterioration of my parents' marriage in a way that like maybe the siblings didn't notice. Like,
mm,
yet again, another example of like how lonely it must be to be the eldest, kind of shielding, intentionally or unintentionally shielding the younger ones from that. But then you're going through it, you're experiencing it, you're growing up too
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Oof,
Hmm.
a lot of things to be undone, a lot of it
Yeah,
hurts.
lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I have one article that I wanted to focus on for the South Asian application. Very interesting. It's from feminismindia.com. It's called Eldest Daughter Syndrome: The Abrasive Effects of Patriarchal Parenting in South Asia. And the author, I'm not sure if I'm saying your first name correctly. It's Hridya Sharma. Okay. So, in summary, the author of this article shares that in South Asian households, parentification of the eldest daughter is common, as well as also bearing the burden of emotional labor. So, those two are pretty common together. Research on the eldest daughter syndrome revealed that eldest daughters have additional responsibilities in addition to housework, but they're also expected to shoulder their parents' and siblings' emotional burdens. They're expected to take the role of not only bearing the emotional burden, but also the role of being an emotional caregivers, attending to the emotions of other people in their family. The oldest daughters in South Asian households are raised to believe they have to settle all family disputes, and that's up to them, and that they must make them right. It's their responsibility. This emotional labor can lead the elder daughter to either become extremely independent and secretive or display people pleasing tendencies leading to unhealthy coping skills. And then this author also kind of gives a shout out to an Asian psychotherapist named Isra Nasser. And this therapist kind of goes into details about kind of what I just said, but then also provides advice, which I thought was really interesting. So the advice from this South Asian psychotherapist from Isra Nasser is that to anyone who can relate to the eldest daughter syndrome, their advice is to reconsider their behavior patterns, redirect their energy towards themselves, and develop the ability to set clear boundaries. All easier said than done, but very important. Okay, this last paragraph that I have, I extracted it completely and quote from the paragraph because I thought it was so beautifully written and I thought it was really important to read it out loud. So, quote, the solution may seem straightforward. Families must acknowledge any unfair burdens that may have been placed on the oldest daughter and more fairly divide up household duties. But it's not at all easy to do so, right? If you think about it, in our households, there's so many traditional South Asian gender roles. Like, you can't just fix that. Like, everybody share household duties just with the conversation, right? That's not realistic.
Right.
So, to go on, this author says male family members in particular must increase their involvement in household chores. Consequently, it calls for us to undo centuries of conditioning ourselves to view housekeeping and personal care as sex specific and feminine. So, again, these are like when you're trying to undo and unlearn all this, you're also challenging traditional gender roles, which is pretty
Yeah.
big, right? It's pretty heavy. While the counterfeited notions and conditioning that already exist will take years to unroot and reinvent, the realization and open discourse about the problems faced by these individuals experiencing the eldest daughter syndrome will accelerate the change. So, right, that's, the author talks about like it's important to talk about it still. It is about due time when we have unashamed conversations around the taboo topic and celebrate the achievements and the unique individuality elder daughters hold. Yeah.
As well
So that,
said.
mm-hmm,
It really highlights, like it's not just about family specific or culture specific things. It's kind of like a systemic intergenerational situation.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a very, very well written article and very powerful and lots of great information. Definitely give it
Mm-hmm.
a read if you have some time. There's also a lot out there on social media, on TikTok. The author of this article also references TikTok videos. There was a piece of this article that I didn't really go into detail, but I kind of talked about how like sometimes eldest daughters face more intense or even only the ones to face abuse in South Asian households, whereas the younger siblings aren't, which have again has its own effects and impact on the on this child, the eldest child. So lots of great information in this article. And lots of,
Mm-hmm.
this is a very shared experience and especially in the South Asian community. And there's lots of
Yeah.
creators out there that have shared their thoughts. And so I love that this is definitely a known topic, but
Yeah.
definitely do think that this needs a little bit more time when it comes to the physical manifestations, like we talked about.
Mm. Yeah. And how it shows up in our bodies. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Somatic effects, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another little segment. Are you ready for a trivia question?
Yes. Trivia question.
It's kind of like more like a myth, but it's a yes or no question, okay? Is eldest daughter child syndrome an official diagnosis? Yes or no? You know
Official
this.
diagnosis, as in like DSM diagnosis?
The
No.
yeah, yeah, no. A lot of people
But
think
is
it
it?
is because that's how it sounds, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
just a phrase. But I remember reading somewhere online, like, this needs to be an official diagnosis. Like, it's so real. Like, they just need to make it official. But it is a shared experience. That's why it's like named as like a syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
also like the DSM diagnosis, while we do use it to diagnose, like again, let's not forget that it is very Eurocentric concept
Mm,
and it's not meant for diverse populations. So there is that.
right.
We'll create our own. We'll create our own little DSM, unofficial,
South
and we're going to
Asian
call it
style.
eldest child syndrome.
Add some spice to it.
Yeah, add some masala.
There you go. But yeah, that was the end of my research and my segments. What did you think?
That was all amazing stuff. And I feel like there's just so many like nuances and layers to this that it's so
Mm-hmm.
hard to like really, really get into the depth of everything. But this is
Mm-hmm.
like a really great way to scratch that surface and like get people, talking about it, which, like you said, like TikTok's got that covered. I
Mm-hmm.
love that we're in this kind of era where people are able to talk about it. They're comfortable talking about their lived
Yeah.
experiences and it's so connecting and like this particular topic of like the eldest daughter syndrome, the eldest child syndrome, like that is such a huge topic. And to me, it almost feels like synonymous to South Asian mental health. You cannot not talk about this.
Right. It's very common.
Yeah. So common.
The birth order effects and like how the parenting and just so like it's so prevalent in the South Asian community. So very important topic to bring up. I'm glad we talked about it. Surprised we
Yeah.
haven't talked about it until season 3.
Yeah. It's just so much. I don't know. I guess we were
There's a
like,
lot
no,
of
maybe
topics.
not.
Yeah, it's a good topic. It's a good topic.
Yeah. We could honestly do part two, part three, part four for this too.
Yeah,
Like there's
we
so
can.
much to say.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't go, like you said, I scratched the surface. I didn't go into details about how it impacts relationships. I said a little bit, but
Yeah.
how does this impact your relationships with your own family later on, right? Like feelings of
Mhm.
resentment
Yeah.
or
Even your
feelings of
siblings.
guilt. Our feelings of guilt, like, after
Yeah.
you make those amends and set boundaries, like, how does the eldest daughter
Mhm.
feel guilty
Oh, yeah.
sometimes of doing that or feel selfish? There's so
Yeah.
much more.
It's so much good stuff to unpack, like, so
Mm-hmm.
much good stuff. When you get to the other side of it, like, it feels so good. But it's that journey that can feel really, difficult, especially because it's also somewhat dependent on how open and willing people in your lives are to kind of
Yeah,
shifting and changing and growing with you.
exactly.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
also not just like parents, right? Like families, but like sibling relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, a whole other kind of topic to talk about too, and how that impacts, the eldest child, how it impacts like the other siblings and like their
Mm-hmm.
relationship growing up, their relationship as adults now. And like there's a lot to unpack even in that. I really think we should do like a part 2, 3 and
We
different
can.
focus on different parts of this. This is
Yeah,
great.
this is great. Okay, you ready for my story? Okay.
I've been waiting for your story on
Yes.
this literally
I
forever.
tried to not keep it too long.
That's the tag for this entire episode. We try to not
Yes.
keep it long.
I know, right? Okay, so when we decided this topic, my inner child jumped. I was so excited. I was like, yes, I resonate with this so much. It's so funny because when I was thinking about this and reflecting on therapy and how much what I've done in therapy, I can confidently say that 75% of all my therapy sessions have been dedicated to this topic.
You're a
If my
subject
therapist is
matter
listening,
expert.
I'm right. It's so real. Like I do really resonate with this topic, and I'm the firstborn female daughter, right? I grew up in a household with two parents and a younger sister. I know I mentioned this in the previous episode, but a quick summary, right? I was privileged in the way to grow up without any chronic illnesses, whereas my sister was the opposite. She was born with and has many different chronic illnesses. So, like, naturally, my parents' attention was focused on that. But because of, I think it has to do with my temperament and personality too that I was born with, but I did eat, like, very easily assume a caregiver role for my sister at a very young age. We are 5 years apart, and ever since I feel like she was born, I was very involved in her care. The older I got, a little bit when I got a little bit older, like school age, and I was able to take care of my own self, I started taking care of her too, like cleaning her poop, helping bathing her, dressing her, getting ready for school and events, preparing her food, warming up her food. And this was also because it was hard sometimes too. Like I was more present with my sister because both my parents were working. But I think it was also in my nature to do it as well. And I automatically did it. And I think I overdid it now looking back. I became so engrossed in taking care of my sister to the point that I did not care as much for myself. I received a lot of validation, and I think that's what perpetuated it even more, where my parents were really proud of me. Like they would get excited that
Mhm.
I'm taking care of her. It would be gratifying to see them like feel relaxed and not worry about anything. I would get validation from extended family and friends that, oh,
Mhm.
like, look at Michelle, like she's
So
such a good
helpful.
big sister,
So
she's so
sweet.
helpful, like she's such a good daughter, she's such a
Mhm.
good big
Yeah.
sister. And so I took pride in it. I feel like I put my sister's
Mm.
needs first before mine. I'm such a good sister, so that makes me a good sister. Like I was like identified with it, almost like it
Yeah.
became part of my identity. My sister would even, you remember this, like, she would always be with me. She would join me whenever I would meet with my friends. Like she would
Mhm.
always be there. Like I kind of took responsibility of her,
Mm.
just me taking care of her. I remember one time I was supposed to go to a friend's sleepover, like it was a birthday sleepover, and I was the only one invited. And this wasn't like a super close friend, so it didn't make sense for me to like ask that friend, like, oh, can I bring my sister with me?
Mhm.
Like it was just me invited. And I remember getting ready to go, but I remember I was like stepping out of the house. My sister became really upset, like she was throwing a tantrum. And she was still young at this time. I want to say I was probably like 10, 11, and she was probably like 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe that codependency like started early on. So she became really upset that I was leaving her. I remember me stepping out and she was like screaming, like tantruming all the way, like
Mhm.
following me out. And my parents actually gave in to that. Like they didn't let me go because she was
Mhm.
upset. So again, like they were feeding into that cycle. And then I kind of just went along with it, right? Because again, it wasn't like a super close friend, but I was bummed and missing out the birthday party, the birthday sleepover.
Yeah.
But looking back, I'm like, that wasn't okay of my parents doing that.
Mhm.
That was kind of depriving me of my own childhood experiences. because of her, and they were perpetuating this pattern and behaviors.
Right.
So I do think that she definitely developed a codependency. I kind of became dependent on her to receive that validation. It was kind of a cycle. I found validation in helping her and her needs being fulfilled. Instead of her asking me for help for things, as the older she got, I just would assume that she needs my help. And I would jump in and tell her, let me help you do your science project. Let me do this for you. Let's go,
Mm.
like to the grocery store to go get your materials for your project.
Mm, you got
Or
used
when,
to that role.
yeah. And then when she was applying to college, immediately I was like, send me your college essays. We're going to work on it together. Send me your resume. I'm going to look over it and send you the edits. I was doing it all for her without her even asking.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this parentification that I was experiencing, I know I'm speaking about myself, but I know it had a negative impact on her as well. And I want to, value that as well and mention that,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was both on both sides. It wasn't helpful. So I was basically her second mother for a long time. When I went to college, that was my first time separating from her for a long time. Like we shared a room her whole life. Like ever since she was born, she was in a room with me. Like we were shared bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember her being really sad and upset. I remember feeling like, oh, like this is cool, like this is new. But I remember feeling a little bit of guilt, like, oh, like I'm leaving her. But I think that moment was a big pivotal moment, like, oh, like it's just me, myself, and I. Like, this is my moment of like, okay, who am I? And at that point I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like what do I want to do? What do I need? And that
What did
was
that
like,
feel like for you?
I think it was, I mean, in the moment there was just a lot going on, like
Mm.
college and like
Yeah.
excitement, and
Big
but I do
transition.
remember struggling a little bit. And I kind
Mm.
of took a little bit of that caregiving role for my roommate as well, I think, in the beginning.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm
Like
like,
it
I
was just
want
kind
to
of a
do
habit
things for
almost.
her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to think
Mm.
back on. And then I feel that even later on in life, like until very recently, my parents would continue this cycle. Like even though we were separated, I was doing my own thing. I live away from my family now. My sister, my parents would still to this day, not as much anymore, but like until very recently, they would bring me in during conflicts. Like if it was just a conflict between my parents and my sister, like
Mm.
they would sometimes hold me responsible for her actions or tell me like, oh, you need to talk to her, or you didn't talk to her about this and that's why she did this, or you
Mm.
didn't convince her. Like a big topic of discussion, and this is still pretty sore, so like I love you guys but I still want to bring it up, is that my mom like didn't want her to go to college out of state in New York.
Mm.
And something, I didn't want her chronic illness and everything to hold her back.
Mm.
And so, I encouraged her to apply to like the second best college in the whole world for interior design, which is what she wants. And that's what she's doing now. And she got in, and that was so exciting. And she ended up
Yeah.
going, and that was pretty great for her growth. But I think in her second year, her third year, I can't remember exactly what year, but her health
Mhm.
deteriorated. And it was hard
Mhm.
for her to take care of herself. It was pretty scary for the family, and she had to come back home for a little bit.
Mm.
And I remember my mom, like, again, it was because of heightened emotions, but she did find blame in me because
Mm.
she went back to the like senior year and she was like, you should have just told her to stay in Texas, in Dallas. Like, you
Mm.
shouldn't have let her go. It was your fault. And I remember like feeling very upset about that and telling her
Yeah.
like later on about it. Like in that moment, I still was like not understanding or didn't know exactly how to assert myself and set boundaries. But I was like, I remember in an angry way, I told her in the moment, like, you're acting like I chained her to like my
Mm.
hand and took her, right? It was her decision. Like she made that decision to go. Like I just
Mhm.
suggested. And then later on, we had a conversation about this, and I told my mom, like, you made me feel like it was my fault that she got sick, and that was really hurtful. And like I didn't
Yeah.
like that. Like I would never wish that on her. And she like she received it well, and she like apologized, and she's like, yeah, you're right, I think I was just like in the
Mm.
moment really upset and wanted to find blame. So later on I realized that all of this, right, parentification, assuming a caregiver responsibility, I didn't touch on it, but I do remember like taking on the emotional labor of my parents, like especially when they were going through their separation. And it's so funny now, it makes sense. My mom used to get really upset at me when I was a really young age that I used to like blab our business to everybody. But that was
Mhm.
probably my coping now that I think about it, right? Like I probably didn't know what to do with that emotional information that they would share with me. And so I would just
Mm-hmm.
share it with others to let it out. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense, you know? But I strongly, strongly resonate with overachieving and overworking, perfectionism, tendencies, people pleasing tendencies, difficulties setting boundaries, all of the things that their 75% plus of my therapy sessions have been focused on, right?
Right.
I mean, after what this is very recent, and you know this about me, like after so much work, now I feel like today, which is within the last 2 years, I'm able to set a boundary. And very recently, I told you this too, and I might have mentioned this in a previous podcast episode, was that I told myself, my sister, and my parents, and I use those exact words: I am not her second mother anymore, and I am her
Mm-hmm.
sister. And I will treat her like an adult she is now. And if she needs support from something, I might offer it or not, but she has to request it from me still.
Mm-hmm.
And this definitely caused a shift, I feel like. You know, there was definitely pushback at first. I remember when there was conflicts between my sister and my mom would call me, vent to me, and then
Yeah.
be like, talk to her. And I'll be like, no, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's between you two. I can get,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, I like, have you told her about how you feel? And she'd be like, no. And I'm like, that's probably going to be helpful. Like, you need to tell her exactly what you're telling me. And so she took that well, and she's been taking that well. Now she hasn't been coming to me anymore, so I appreciate it. Like, now it's more like, did you talk? Have you been talking to her? Like, it's changed.
Yeah.
Now it's more general questioning. Like, have you talked to her lately? So, which is
Mm.
good. That's
As
good
a sibling,
progress.
have you
Yeah.
talked to her as a
Yeah.
sibling, not as
Yeah. I
a
mean, I know where she's getting at. But like but it's a progress. Like,
yeah.
instead of her like giving me a directive now, like she used to, like, you need to talk to her
Mm-hmm.
about this, like now it's just like, oh, like, has she shared what's going on? Like, it's great, very
Yeah.
normal. So go mom, healing with me.
Yeah, auntie.
Yes, so the shift is good. Like I mentioned earlier, the guilt sometimes comes up about, oh, am I being selfish? I'm not, like, you know, I wish you would do things a certain way. Like, this is something I've told my therapist. Like, I don't, like, I want my sister to do things a certain way. And especially with her help, right? Like, and if she doesn't listen to me and something happens, like, I will blame myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so my solution and my approach to that is that I'll share my suggestion, or I'll share how I feel about what she's doing. And that's my part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I did that. Like, that's good. That gives me like a peace of mind. Like, okay, I told her what I think about it, but I'm not going to force her anymore like I used to. Like, it's
Yeah.
her choice
Like
to
you
take up.
supported her.
Yeah. So like that helps me, like, okay, I did my part. Like, I told
Yeah.
her what will help her, but if she chooses not to do what she thinks is best for her, or what I think is best for her, like, that's okay.
Good catch.
Right. I know, right? My therapist is probably like, ah, it's still hard. See, it's the struggle.
Yeah.
And now, like, the parentification is so ingrained. Again, like, it's natural for me to slip up like that. And I have to tell myself, and this is like my therapist's words too, is that what I think is best for her might not be the same what she thinks is best for her. And I have to accept that.
Yeah.
It's a harsh truth. And this
Yeah.
goes with parents too. I feel like I've taken the parentification role with my parents sometimes too, which is like their
Mm.
health and things like that. And same thing, right? What I think is best for them might not be the same as what they think is best for them. And I just have to, unfortunately, accept it. And
Yeah.
I saw like a video, a reel a long time ago, and it was just like eldest daughters, like, who spend so much time worrying and trying to change their older siblings or their parents. They lose that time of like showing love and compassion. And then later
Mm.
on, when grief happens, like, you regret it. So that's why I'm trying to prevent. Like, I'm just, they're my parents, they're my sister. I'm gonna stop parentifying myself and parenting them, and just show my love and support and compassion that I
Yeah.
would like to.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know it's like
Mm,
such a hard thing, at the end of the day, you love and care so much.
yeah.
But I mean, imagine like what you just said, right? Like you said, it's so hard. I mean, you didn't say it exactly like this, but you're basically saying it's so hard when you feel like this is the right thing, but then they might not agree with that. Like, this is the plight of the parents' generation, right? On the other end,
Mm-hmm.
where they feel like if they just did this, their life would be set, they'd be happy. And it's like, that's not what we necessarily think would make us happy, though, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of experiencing that on the other
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. So I keep telling myself that the boundaries that I'm currently setting and maintaining, it does not relate how much I care and how much I love my sister and parents. So that's been helpful.
You're doing good. Round of applause for
Thanks.
Michelle.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're
Had a
doing good.
moment
It's
of
hard.
vulnerability right there, too. Slip
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, exactly. But you caught it. You caught it.
Yes,
That's a
exactly.
win.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
it's
that's the
so
end.
awesome too. Like, I mean, just kind of hearing you talk about like some of these examples of how you tried to like break out of the cycle, how you've tried to step away and like, heal and like through action too. I mean, that's the
Mm-hmm.
hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we can do our healing in therapy and like that feels good to us. It's our space, it's a safe space. But then you come back and like you try to actually implement and practice it. But family,
Mm-hmm.
that's so hard. And you've been
Mm-hmm.
doing that. And you're doing it
Thank
so
you.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah. High five.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Killing it.
Progress, progress.
Yes, always. Well, I'm glad that you got to share all of that. We've often talked about, some of these like aspects of being the eldest daughter and all of that, but I'm glad you got to put it all together. And like
I know.
clearly the way you presented your story just now, like it's clear to me you have talked about this in therapy.
Yeah.
You
It's
have
very
so many like
therapeutic.
insights sprinkled.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic to talk about this. Like
Yeah.
again, like the insights and discoveries that you still there's so many layers. Like
Oh yeah.
we like talk about my therapist and I like we're like just keep peeling the onion. We just
There's
keep peeling
so
the
many
onion.
layers to that damn onion.
And we just have tears as we're peeling them and that's okay. It's
Yeah, it's an
valid.
onion. We're gonna be a little bit
Yeah.
tearful. That's awesome. Yeah, well, I'm really, really proud of you for doing that work because, it's
Thank
hard
you.
work and
Thank
not
you.
everybody chooses it because it takes a lot to, like, show up
Yeah,
time and time again.
for
Keep
sure.
pushing. I'm so proud of you. Go,
Thank you.
Michelle.
Appreciate it. Appreciate love and support. Heart.
Always. I know for our conversations, we kind of talk about it from this angle, but I mean, as you know, I'm an only child,
Yes.
right? But I do have a lot of cousins. And when I say a lot, I
Yes.
mean a lot.
You do. You sure do.
So I never quite feel like, I had to really bear the brunt of this title of being the eldest daughter. But to some degree, I've noticed, like, as I've learned about it and like work with other clients who go through
Mm-hmm.
it, talk to friends who go through it, there's a lot of overlap in what I experience.
Mm-hmm.
And also, there's a lot of differences that I'm spared. So, to give you kind of a little window, I don't know if you know this, but I actually am the youngest of a certain, like, I'm kind of like a half generation in between cousins. So,
Okay.
there's like a bunch of cousins I have that are like 5, 6 years older than me, but they're all like, they're born and grew up in India.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in India, but I grew up mostly here, right? Like since I was really, really young. So we didn't really have that connection. So they felt a lot older to me than like, oh, just 5, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas everybody who was born after me, the younger generation, so when I talk about my cousins, I talk about them, they're the age gap there is like 12 plus.
Mm.
Except for like a couple, but like I didn't interact with them as much. The ones I interacted with were all like 12 plus years
Oh,
of
okay.
gap.
It's a big gap. Yeah.
Huge gap. Yeah. So again, like it changes that dynamic again too of like when you talk about being the quote unquote eldest and like far removed because I'm talking about cousins, then far removed again because I'm talking about 12 plus age difference, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
keep that in mind. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some of the things that I've at least noticed in that overlap in how, I was raised with cousins, we saw each other like every single week and things like that, there was more like think pressure oriented stuff. So
Okay.
like, what kind of a model am I setting for them? Right.
Mm.
So like the clothes I wear, the things that I say or do, how respectful I'm seemingly being in like adults' opinions. And like kind of constantly hearing anytime I would say like this or that, like they would be like, you can't do that. Like, what kind of example is that setting? Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
in general, that was very like verbalized and something I really took in. So it was for me, it was a lot of like that pressure of I have to set this example for them.
Mm-hmm.
Saying
A lot of pressure.
no. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Saying no is like, it's too selfish. I'm not allowed to say that. I mean, that's the thing in general, but like it
Yeah.
intensified when it's like, you can't say no because that's really selfish. Like, what about them? What are they learning? And like,
Yeah.
you need to be more flexible and you need to adjust because they're like younger, right? Like, come on, they're
Mm-hmm.
just a kid. And it's like, okay, but I'm also just a kid, maybe a little older kid, but still. Yeah. And I feel like for me, I feel like the primary emotion growing up around all this, guilt. It
Mm.
was huge, right? So like I really internalized a lot of this like guilt tripping in essence, right? Like what are they gonna think and what are they gonna so I really internalized a lot of that guilt, and I feel like the impact that it's had for me as I grew older and older, and like even in college and like pre-therapy and all of that, was overthinking. That's how it showed up
Mm.
for me. And then obviously people pleasing,
Yeah.
our best friend, people pleaser over here. But the overthinking, definitely, right? Like, so what I mean when I say
Mm.
overthinking is like overthinking decisions. So anytime I want to do anything, kind of thinking twice and thrice, like, okay, how's this going to affect them? How is this going to be perceived by them? And like, are they going to be upset by this? Are they going to think I'm being ungrateful? Are they going to, just like a lot of what do other people think about this choice that I'm going to make?
Yeah.
But the biggest burden, I feel like, as an like eldest daughter, eldest cousin, whatever you want to call it, for me was being the cycle breaker, because that's a burden in of
Yeah,
itself
that
to
is a
be a cycle
burden.
breaker. Yeah, but it was the most fulfilling one, I will say now. But it was the biggest burden, right? Because you have to, like I said earlier about you have to like deal with all of this wounds and traumas that you've compiled in therapy. You have to unpack all of that, which is hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've also got to speak up about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, this internalized idea that I'm a role model to these younger cousins. What I do and say is going to impact them to some degree. So I really
Yeah.
internalize that. And I feel like the positive side of that is that also gave me motivation to stand up for them
Mm-hmm.
now so they don't have to deal with certain things. So, like,
Wow.
having
Cycle
hard
breaker.
conversations. Yeah, exactly. Cycle breaker. Yes. For me, but also for other people I
Yes.
care about.
I love it. Chain
Yeah.
reaction.
Exactly. And so the second part of all of that was really hard, other than the unpacking and healing, is having those hard conversations. And as you're having those hard conversations, obviously, like you talked about, initially there's going to be resistance to that
Right.
because it's change, it's new,
It's
it's different,
change.
it's confusing. It's going to bring up defensiveness, like what have you, right? So, like, pushing past the resistance, pushing past the guilt tripping, pushing past the like silent treatments to like find that like balanced way to show that you understand where they're coming from
Mm-hmm.
and offer another path where you can communicate better, where you can meet kind of halfway and like
Yeah.
be more respectful of like, okay, but I'm an adult now. This is what I'm going to do. Right. So I feel like that is probably the biggest burden as the eldest child slash cousin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that part was a burden I was willing to carry, because even though it was
Mm-hmm.
rough, it makes it a little bit easier for those after me. Of
Yeah.
course, that's not to say, like, again, they are cousins, so they are going to go through it themselves in varying degrees, obviously. But at least to have somebody who's kind of been through it for them to like lean on, at least for me to kind of be a buffer of sorts with their
Mm-hmm.
parents and being like, okay, well, have you thought about it like this? Just kind of being that person.
Yeah.
I feel like that helps somewhat in the cycle. I mean, that's the idea, it's the goal.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I love that you're not only thinking about yourself, it's almost as if like your eldest daughter, eldest cousin syndrome is like assisting you in breaking the cycle. Because not only you're thinking about yourself
Yeah,
to break the cycle for, but also your younger single, like you're looking out
yeah,
for them. And this is like in a positive way.
totally.
But it's just so powerful to hear that you were able to not only, have those hard conversations with everybody for yourself, but for them as well. And I'm sure they're so thankful, or if not, they don't know, but
Hopefully they never have to know what that feels
right,
like.
they don't have to know what is,
Yeah,
how it is, how it has been different
that would
beforehand.
be awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like what we talk about a lot, right? Like a lot of these things that we talk about are on a spectrum. So this is kind of on a spectrum. In its totality, the eldest daughter syndrome comes with a lot of cons, a lot of negative things. But two sides of the same coin. The other side of it is, what does it give us? And like, this isn't ideally the way we would want to learn and embody these nice things, but it also gives us the ability to be super empathetic. Most elder daughters
Mm-hmm.
are like boss at being empathetic. They're
Mm-hmm.
amazing at being
Boss.
nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing at being great listeners. They're amazing at like being thoughtful. And like, these are all positive qualities. Like, ideally we would get it in different ways, not having to go through all these hardships.
Yeah.
But I think there is something to that,
Yeah. Their
this
strengths.
experience gives us these
Their
kinds of
strengths.
qualities that maybe a lot of us do take pride in, as
Yeah.
long as we find that balance.
Yeah. Definitely, I do agree with that. You know, I really, really appreciate your example and like just what you've done is because it helps us bring this perspective. Like you're right, it's a burden to like take those actions too, because someone who is experiencing the same thing, eldest daughter, eldest child in a family syndrome, they might not have the capacity to bear that burden of like
Yeah.
breaking that cycle, like standing up and breaking that, and that's okay too,
Yeah.
right? Like that's not like that's can also become also burdensome, right? Where you have to not only think about now, like once you gain awareness, just thinking about the fact of like, well, I need to stand up, I need to have conversations, like that could be a far-reaching thing for people, and that's okay, right? Like it's small steps. Recognition is the first one, and
Mm-hmm.
like you said, everybody's coping is different. And if they choose to cope in this way by bearing this burden and breaking the cycle or taking actions, that's great. And if they don't, and try to just focus on themselves and like how they're going to improve their coping skills and all that, like that's okay too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
That's still
I,
breaking the cycle for them.
yeah, right. And I think sometimes in South Asian households, it can be really hard for someone to stand up to their elders and say
Yeah.
no or set boundaries, like we talked about how like so many standards, like the mental health standards in the US are Eurocentric, and we
Mm.
have to remember that sometimes advice that is given in Eurocentric standards is not always applicable to like, South Asian or Eastern Europe standards, and it's really important to understand that not everything is parallel.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Clearest example, boundaries, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
most Eurocentric boundaries, because of the individualistic cultures, would welcome like no means no, period.
Right.
Whereas that would get a chappal thrown at you in very collectivist cultures. That's not cutting it.
Right. Right. Or like cutting people off, like,
Yeah. Yeah. And like,
like
sometimes
that's
that
not
is the right thing, but not
right.
always. And
Right.
there's like all that nuance to be unpacked with, somebody who really gets that.
Exactly. Exactly.
And also, I guess, I really do want to say, like, a quick shout out to like our families, right? Like, not everybody has that privilege to break the cycle within the
Mm-hmm.
families in this way, where our families will go through a little bit of struggle. They'll be
Yeah.
open to growing with us, right? Like, that
Yeah.
is a privilege that we've both had, and we can be really, appreciative and grateful for that,
Really
and hold
grateful.
space for all the hurts that we've gone through when we were younger, and hold space for the reality that not everybody gets that. Not everybody's
Exactly.
families are willing to grow with them.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Love this
Beautifully
topic.
said. And thank you for sharing your story. I do like very I want to validate you just because, you're an only child doesn't mean you haven't experienced these things, and this shared experience, especially in South Asian culture, which is very collectivist, joint families, like you can
Yeah.
still experience this as an only child,
Yeah.
like you have. So
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
validate
that's why I wanted to like specify, because I definitely do see myself as an eldest child within like a degree of our family like
that.
units. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I don't want to take away that this is a spectrum, right? So I
Yeah,
fall in part of that spectrum, but it's not maybe the same experience as other people. I'm like, that's okay.
exactly.
But we can call that out, recognize
Yes.
what is and
Yeah.
what isn't.
Yeah. And kudos to you for breaking, intergenerational cycle. Look at you.
Let's just say it. We're both killing it out here. Hearts.
Woohoo, hurts.
Alrighty. Shall we wrap up our conversation today? I feel like we could go on
Yes.
forever.
Yes, we could. But yes, I think it's time to put a bow on it.
Let's do it. If our listeners really love this and like there's a lot of views and a lot of requests and a lot of questions, we could always do part two, part three, part four. We'll
There
get
you
to it.
go.
We'll wrap up for now. Reminder to all our listeners, if our podcast has resonated with you and you'd like to share your story with us or ask us any questions, ask us any advice on any mental health topics, you are more than welcome to reach us at talksouthasiantome@gmail.com, or you can find us on all of the social media platforms at the handle at talksouthasiantome.
All right.
Catch
Take
you guys in the
care.
next episode.
Next episode. Bye.